What is the most unethical profession? The people who scam old people all day pretending to be from Microsoft. Prosperity preachers. Prosperity preachers, duck all of them. They're just scammers under a different title. Kenneth Copeland defends use of 3 private planes in interview. It's a spiritual thing and they're just shitty people in general. Creflo Dollar choked, punched daughter, police report. What the duck kind of name is Creflo Dollar? And here I had trouble believing Peter Popoff was a real thing. Payday loans. Want a loan with 600% interest? My job just partnered with a company to advance your check if needed. The company has all of our info such as hourly rate and time clock punches. If you make $10 an hour and have 80 hours of punches, they will give you an $800 advance. No interest, but they don't take out taxes. Girl I work with had been taking an advance every 2 weeks because you make more money this way. I told her she's getting ducked in April but she doesn't believe me. Lol, I have a friend who was being paid as an independent contractor and apparently didn't know he had to pay taxes on the money himself. He got paid very well, but spent all the money immediately on dumb shit like going out to bars and buying shit for girls he wanted to impress. Our mutual friend offered to help teach him some financial responsibility and figure out how to pay his taxes, but last I heard he kept refusing. I had a friend who was blind. He kept trusting the wrong people to help him buy his groceries, cash, and paying his rent without receiving a receipt. Needless to say, he probably lost $1,000 and was evicted for not paying rent when he had. Husband and I offered to be sort of executors, aka money managers, for free. Friend verbally agreed and we drew up a contract for him to sign and get notarized. It simply said we would help him pay his bills and help him shop. He would be 100% in control. The day he was supposed to sign he disappeared, changed his number and his address. I lost contact and did not see him for years. Edit, I ran into him on public transit about 6 years later. I reintroduced myself, explained my husband had died and could be friends again. He did not like husband. I told him my hash was the same as before and gave it to him. He was cordial but never called. For those of you who are suspicious. He was a friend for almost 10 years. He was always flaky. And I suspect he just wanted to leave things the way they were. Not a big deal. But to just disappear hurt. WTF happened? My guest scumsuckers told him nice people trying screw em. I worked in the payday loan industry for a minute. Legal money sharks who prey on folks with poor credit to borrow money at insane interest rates, 700+%. Here's how it walks. You need to borrow $700 until your next payday. On your payday, 2 weeks from now, you will need to pay back $854, 700 plus interest. If you don't have $854 to part ways within 2 weeks, no problem. Simply pay the interest, $154, and roll over to the next payday. Still don't have $854 on your next payday? Cool, just pay the interest and roll it over another 2 weeks. You could roll it 3 times before we asked for the full amount. The place that I worked at would allow customers to take out a new loan after that 3rd roll to start the process all over. This place had customers who had been stuck in this cycle for years. I worked there in 2008 for about 5 months. Christmas came and the big boss asked why our default numbers, people past due on their payments, were so high. I said, if I were in our customers' shoes, I would be buying presents for my kids and trying to feed my family instead of paying on this loan. He grunted and snarled at me. Then I gave my notice. Televangelist. Beware of the false prophets, who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. Matthew 7:15. Have you ever met a real wolf? I have, and they are light years better people than televangelists. MLMs for sure. They prey on the poor and desperate. Nearly joined an MLM this year without realizing. I feel bad for the young people who get sucked in, like a staff who interviewed me who I found out was actually younger than me by a few years. The stuff they say to get you on board is too good to be true. Levels of absurdity. Join us to help sell water tanks and you'll earn $400 per sale. The more sales you make a month, you can earn up to $6,000 a month. 22 meters, think what killed any hope of me joining was when they just devalued all my work experience prior by saying the skills I learned in my industry, retail, won't help in the long run, but this job will. Sorry assholes, but not sorry. So there was some sort of cell phone MLM I can't remember I was talking to who had tricked me into showing up by posing as a real company. I had at this point worked for Google, LG, Microsoft, Western Digital, T-Mobile, and a host of other tech companies as a freelance marketer. I had a degree, applicable experience, tech knowledge, and they told me that the supervisor position I had been told I was applying for was only for people with experience. I cited my significant experience and the response was, if you work at a Papa John's for 5 years and then quit to be hired by Pizza Hut, you wouldn't expect to be able to be a manager there, would you? To which I answered, yes, that's how industry experience works. All follow-up questions were ignored. Did that person think everyone new always starts at the bottom? Welp. Best get in touch with all those CEOs who jump exec board to let them know they should be starting by sweeping the floors. Mediums and psychics who capitalize on the pain and grief their clients feel from losing someone they love. I will help you communicate with your dead loved one for $200 an hour. The Gabby Petito, SP? Case was so ducked up with all the TikTok psychos, psychics posting videos saying she was speaking to them from beyond the grave. Edited. Remove the word fake because you guys in the comments are right. Also, there is not apostrophe in psychos. I am sorry for committing this mortal sin. Media outlets that take money from interest groups, or owned by specific people, and espouses their talking points instead of reporting the factual truth. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. I used to buy, trade and sell trading cards. It seemed unethical cause you'd always be trying to get an amazing deal from people and especially kids. If someone didn't know the price of the card, you'd still haggle with them to get it even lower. I remember one of my buddies getting 3 cards worth $150 each for about $30 cause the guy didn't know the price had spiked a couple hours ago. Whoever decided medical costs? Like Senator Joe Manchin's daughter who increased the price of EpiPens from $50 to $600? Her name is Heather Bresch and she is scum. She is literal shit. The first known use of the word cunt was in the year 306 in a small village in what is now England by a witch on a wormwood bender who foresaw the coming of Heather Bresch. Any profession where the source of your income is scamming the old and or the gullible. Edit, voice to text typo. Outbound sales call center worker, you are literally told to lie to make sales, especially to older people. I once worked in a call center and it was for a catalog, so not actual cold calling but definitely trying to make sales out of nowhere. Anyway, I get a call one day and having a lovely chat with her for ages and putting stuff in her basket to send for her to try, and get son comes home mid-call and starts telling me how she has dementia and is getting these calls, making orders and forgetting them, then forgetting to send them back. All while getting distressed about it because she can't remember anything and they were in the process of legal action to try stop the calls and spending. After he hung up, I asked my boss what to do and she said to just send it through. I felt like the worst person after that and the whole job just broke me. I left not long after that. Call centers are actual cesspits. I worked at an inbound call center selling checks. We had to follow a script that was full of doublespeak and confused almost everyone, and our job was to literally trick them into spending more money on dumb stuff. We were punished for any deviations from the script, even to answer a question, and were not allowed to build rapport or make conversation at all. Of course, a lot of elderly folk just agreed to everything because they didn't understand what was happening. Occasionally their adult children would call back and understandably yell at us for tricking their relatives and try to cancel orders, although it was often too late to cancel. It was absolutely soul-crushing and I didn't last very long. Politicians shouldn't be, but the system makes it really easy for people to forget they are public servants and not out for themselves. In Australia, it's not even illegal for them to outright lie in their advertising. Every other business in the country has advertising rules they have to obey or get fined in the thousands, but pollies can say what they want and get away with it. Maybe not the most, but rent-to-own companies are up there. Depends on what it is. Rent-to-own musical instruments is usually great for kids starting out at elementary school. You pay a little more than the instrument is worth, but you can give it back to the store if the kid decides not to continue, or continue renting until it's owned. The place my parents got an instrument for me didn't charge interest at all. It was well worth it. Most of these are criminal or borderline criminal professions. Here's the most unethical legal job: medical insurance executive.